So we are back with the tech talk for 7.2 and 7.3. I smushed these together to make everything a little bit quicker. I'm going to go over variables, data types, and scope. So in this webinar, we will learn how to create a new variable and identify data types. So in JavaScript, variables are used basically to hold information. We tell students it's basically like a box. We use variables when we want to have the same information in multiple places on your website. So if you take a look here on Facebook when you log in, it'll show your name a lot of times. And then if you go into the settings and change your name or log out and then log into somebody else, in the same spot is that other person's name. So instead of having it written out actually in the code all those times and having to change it each time, it'll be saved in a variable and it can be used multiple times. So when we want to use a variable, the first thing we actually need to do is declare it because you can't store things in something that doesn't exist yet. So we write in JavaScript, we write let in order to declare a new variable. A quick side note, if you are a returning PM, this is actually new from last year. We used to use var last year, which stood for variable. We don't do this anymore because it's not block scoped. I'm going to explain this a little bit, but you can also read more in the link. But we're actually going to use let. This actually works pretty well with students because let time equal 5 is it sounds pretty good. We use let if the variable can change in the future. And most of the time we are going to want our variables to change. Const is another way to declare a variable that exists in new JavaScript, but we are actually not going to use it in the intro class. Const stands for constant, and the value of const cannot change. And I will show you what that looks like in popcode. All right, so what you need to know, we're going to tell students to use let. Your intro students will have never seen var. Your fellowship students, we're going to switch them over to let as well. So in order to create that variable, we basically just write let and the name of the variable. You can call a variable whatever you want. Ideally, we want it to be something that is related to what you're storing in it. If you see that often variables start with a lowercase letter and then the second word has an uppercase letter, that's just kind of like computer science norming. It's called camel case, but you don't have to do that. There are only two things you can't do when naming variables. They can't start with numbers, and they also can't be keywords. A quick note on keywords. These are special words. They're used to do something else in JavaScript. That means they have another purpose in JavaScript. They always end up blue when they're typed into popcode or a different color if you're in a different code editor. Let is one of them, so you cannot call your variable let. You can't say let. I've linked a list of other keywords, and I will show you what that looks like in popcode as well. But popcode will give students an error if a student tries to name their variable something that's a keyword. They might not know what it means, so this is important for you to understand. And then as we go into variables, you'll also notice that actually when I was back on this slide, these are different colors, right? We have 16 that's blue, Goomba, which is green, and then another number that's blue. That's because we have different data types that we can save in variables. So JavaScript will know the type of a variable, and we use this kind of like if you're doing a sign-in form and it knows that you're not putting in a phone number because you're putting in letters. So the computer knows whether it is a number or not. So I'm going to focus on 3 different data types. There's more than this, but these are the 3 main ones. Numbers, which you notice are never in quotation marks. They can have decimal points. They can be negative, no quotation marks. Strings. Notice that you can put numbers in strings, but basically a string is anything in between quotes, including nothing. It can be a space or like just 2 quotes next to each other. That is still a string. And then Booleans. Boolean just means a true or a false. They are also keywords. These are some of the other ones. Sometimes you'll get undefined. NaN stands for not a number. So if students try to add 2 things that are not numbers, they might get something like NaN, like this is not a number. Null, which means like nothing. And you can use type of to check what the data type is, and I will show you what that looks like in popcode as well. Finally, we have stored the value of the variable, right? We have let my variable. We have now assigned a value. My variable equals 5. So that means that now, like in the box of my variable is the number 5, and we can change this. So if we have the variable equal to 5 and then we change it to 10, now it's like we're taking 5 out of the box and we're putting 10 into the box. So whatever value is stored last is going to be the value of the variable. So if you put your name in at the top, like in line 1 of JavaScript, and then in line 10, you put in a different name, the variable, the value is going to change. All right, I'm going to show you this in popcode because it makes the most sense if we do it live. All right, so here are just like a couple examples for you to see. I can make this a little bigger. First, I want to show you what var versus let versus const. So if we have var sample var equals Monday and I console log that, it's going to show Monday. Notice this is a string, right? It's in between quotes and it comes back in between quotes. If I then change sample var to Tuesday, and then I console log it, I get Tuesday, right? We see that first it's Monday, then it changes to Tuesday. And then if I change it again, notice it's Wednesday. Here, the issue is that we have declared it again. So now there's actually like 2 vars here. This is not good practice. We do not want to use the word var again. It would be better if we just deleted this. All right, still Wednesday. All right. I'm going to comment this out. Notice that these 2 lines are comment just so you can see. All right, so now we have let, sample let equals true. All right, if I console log that, I get true. Notice it's not in quotes. This is a Boolean. All right. Now, if I've changed the value of sample let to false and I console log it, it says false. All right, now, if notice that I am trying to redeclare let, right? I've used the word let again, and popcode is mad at me. This is like an error, but it's not even in the error panel anymore. So this is what I mean by let being block scoped and var not being block scoped. We can redeclare var, which messes up a lot of things and students get confused about it. Popcode's not mad about this. Popcode is mad about this. All right, so I'm going to X that out so it's not there anymore. All right, and finally we have const sample const equals 1. So if I console log it, I get 1. Again, no quotes, right? If I put quotes here, now this is a string, even though it has the number 1 in it. All right, so I'm going to take this out. All right, I'm going to show you that I can. Here we go. It says sample const is read only, right? You cannot change the value of a const. So if I say const sample const equals 1, it's going to be 1 forever. And popcode is giving me an error because I cannot change what it is. All right, and then, whoops. Let's see if we can redeclare it. No, right? It is angry as well. Block scoped. All right. One thing I do want to point out is we talked about type of. You actually don't put type of here in this box. You're going to put it here. So if I put type of right here, 1, I get that it's a number. Type of 1, it's a string. All right, I can also do this type of sample let, Boolean. All right, so you can always check if what the type of something is here. You can't type it here though. Finally, I want to show you a little about keywords. If I declare this let delete equals scripted, delete is actually a keyword. This is what comes up. So it actually doesn't say delete is a keyword. It says JavaScript doesn't expect a delete here. All right, so right now it's mad at me because this is a keyword, right? I shouldn't be able to do, yeah, see, it's mad at me here too. I cannot say let. All right. All right, so hopefully that was enough guided practice to kind of show you. The best thing to do with this and this brand new topic is really just to try it out yourself. So I am linking to the spicy pop code. I will tell you that this is an activity we used last year, and we actually right now cannot figure out how to make it work with the word let. Some volunteers are working on it. So when you're working on this, actually don't use let, use var, otherwise it's not going to work. All right, so if you can still do the basketball counter if you are a returning PM. This should probably look a little bit familiar. See if you can make it so that when you click the buttons, right now it says NAN, right, because it's not a number, but we want it to be 2 points, and then they can just keep adding scores on their teams. Follow the directions here and submit it when you're done.